Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Line of Code. I am One Line. Hope you're having a great day so far. I have a pretty big headache. Almost canceled the stream, but we're gonna get this done. I still need to do work anyway, so may as well stream. Right. Anyway, hi DC Aggie. Hello world back. I mean the world waves back. Whew. Here's the desktop. We've been working on RTRAC, and it has been, yes, you're right, water. Not only that, but we should probably, maybe get the pot up and running. But you're absolutely right. I am hydrating a lot. I've been drinking lots and lots of water all morning thus far. I will still honor your water. Okay, let's connect. All right. Oops. Crap. Is this gonna work? Dark mode. I should have time to switch it out like this. Are you reading chat? Oh, right. There goes that. And if we do Archly, then give the LLM a second and a whole bunch of nothing because I forgot to refresh the flippin' archery game first. And that's going to disconnect us, which is really annoying. And this button doesn't really do anything. So I have to stop the bot and restart it again. This is going to work. This isn't going to work. Night. Let's try this again. Claus, Santa Claus. All right, bot is up. Then we refresh the archery browser. And then we connect to Twitch. Why does it have to be so finicky? But anyway, hi DC Aggie. I hope you're having a great day so far. Starting off with a pretty bright day, isn't it? I bet you it's super duper bright where you are. I hope it's enjoyable. Good day. Did I not push join again? I had it automatically join on add, but it doesn't do that anymore. Okay, water, automated realms. And you're already doing that. Archery. There it is. Shoot. You're heading back to Nevada? I didn't remember that you left Nevada. Did you already move back across country? Because I know that you were talking about some kind of commute thing that your boyfriend was doing, and you guys were forced to move to Nevada and probably going to have to move back east. I've lost track. Shoot. Let's do a big gamey shot at around 60, 30. You came up to Utah on Memorial Day and saw Whose Line Is It Anyway live. That's awesome. How was it? Good performers, I hope. Oh, so close. My face still hurts from all the laughing. That's an awesome experience then. I'm glad to hear that. Right. And I forgot to open this. Man, I'm forgetting all the things today. And the chances are that you are actually going to capture chat and relay it to YouTube's probably pretty low. I didn't join. Why is he trying to give me stuff? All right. So I haven't touched RTRAC, the main application, since last Thursday when we last worked on it together. I've been doing a combination of STRAC and the stored procedures for RTRAC. I'm wanting to create a library, a class library, that will replace all of the stored procedures with C# code. That is going to be easier to test, easier to debug. So, yeah. What we were doing last was cleaning up some of the SQL entity framework linked to entities issues that we were running into for queries that were not actually able to get translated to link to SQL from link. Thank goodness. Okay, I don't know which server we're connected to. I don't know if this is test or my local dev, but we're gonna find out, I guess. So DC Aggie, by the way, I don't know if you were like joking around on Friday or if you actually do feel like I'm singling you out and attacking you. If so, I really, really apologize. I need to check myself on that. Oof, my back. Cool. President Not Sure was the one that was complaining. I could have sworn that it was you that indicated that I didn't pull out the band hammer on the politics speak. I'm probably misremembering. Again, I have a really bad headache right now, so it's affecting my cognitive abilities. Oh, you were the one that made the joke, and then President Not Sure was the one that was saying that I didn't call you out on it. Yeah. And it was because I didn't know what MAGA was. Yeah. But still, I don't want to single people out. I want to make sure that I'm conscious and mindful and treating everyone the same, because that's what I do. I want to treat all of you as loved and respected as by want to treat you. So I'll talk with President whenever they show up, if he shows up. All right. No records checks to perform because we are pointing to test. Okay, but that's still fine. We should still be able to do the records checks on these. Make sure that they pass. I think we did get to a point where all of the records checks passed and we were able to submit. But there was something to do with the amount of time that it took to perform the records check for one record, right? Yeah. So we want to take a look at that. It's doing a ton of SQL, and it's probably because the original logic for the stored procedure was to loop through all of the results that it finds. And if this isn't filtering the list correctly, we're looping through lots and lots of records. And we shouldn't even be looping for whatever this thing is. We should do a really large select that gives us all of the records back that we're trying to do the records checks for. Then we can worry about validating the information for each record. Man, so I'm probably going to need to switch it back to doing stored procedures. Yeah, lots and lots and lots and lots of tuples. Tuples. I pronounce it tuples, but tuples. Okay, so that's one thing to look out for. I guess I haven't started my notepad yet for this session. Oh, man. I always learned it as tuple. Tuple or tuple? Because it could be tuple. Tuple. I'll be right with you. I even did some neck-centric yoga this morning. And it still feels like there's a big old knot. But I hear a lot of it. A lot of like Tupperware. Cool. I mean, like Tupperware. Why are you telling me the same thing? Two sounds like two. Do you pronounce it potato or potato? Neck trouble is the worst. If you don't own a rice bag to microwave, I'd highly recommend it. I actually have a heating pad that I could use. That fits right on the neck. It's old and yellow, but it still works. We washed the cover. That's all that matters. I'm sure it's not a safety hazard. One thing that we did find that was really, really cool was taking a water bottle and filling it with hot water. Not hot enough that it'll melt, obviously, but hot water, and then wrapping it in a towel. But yeah, it's a headache. It's not necessarily the my neck that's causing troubles. It's just that my headache is when I push on my neck, oh, like that, the headache is less intense. So you're just gonna see me standing here like this for a while. Oh, oh, that's so good. Tension can cause domino, yeah. So I definitely know referential um, pressure points. I used to do a lot of shiatsu and other types of pressure massage. Oh, what I usually do when I have a headache this bad, I've stopped taking over-the-counter pills and stuff just because I don't want any more chemicals in my body than I'm already getting. Um, but the thing that has worked quite often is breath work, of course. Lots and lots of breath work, which is like there's this visualization that I do where my face melts, and you'd be surprised with just how much you can relax your face if you try. Like you sit there, you think about your face just kind of melting, melting, and then it relaxes. Like there's just this point where it just goes, whom, and it just kind of opens up. And then you do it again, and then it feels like it opens up even more. It relaxes even more. And it's like, didn't I just relax as much as I can relax? And then it relaxes even more. And it's like, what is happening? And after about 10 minutes of doing that, my nose starts draining. My ears just feel like they open up as well. And then um, I'm not sure what that actually had to do with what we were talking about, but yeah. Were they doing meditating? Oh, face melting. Yeah, I guess it's been a long time since I've seen it. So, like, that was one of them. Spoiler alert. That was one of the movies that I watched once and I was like, I just felt so uneasy after it. Was that the one with the Mayan temple? Or was that the one with the um oh, Temple of Doom? Yeah, just the heart through the chest. There are temples in all of them. The heart through the chest. I had this I don't know if it was a real experience or if it was a dream, but it's so visceral. It's so clear like it actually happened to me. But I was walking, we were in Puerto Rico visiting my parents' family. I can't really call them my family because I don't know them, but I guess they're blood family. So anyway, we were in Puerto Rico and I was walking around some grassy area and there was these stone-ish ruins types of things, but they weren't really stone ruins. They were just someone's house that they put a brick fire pit, but it looked like stone ruins. And so I'm walking up to this thing, and it has this little square cutout that was almost like a window. It was about maybe I don't know measurements, but I'm gonna say 6 inches square cutout. So anyway, sitting right on there was this little circle, white and red veiny thing, and it was pulsing like a heart. And I was like, what in the world is this thing? And I was looking at it really close and it just grossed me out. And I kind of, for whatever reason, my mind is associating that, whether it was a dream or it actually happened, associating that memory with the Mayan temple pulling dude's heart out from his chest. Oh, oh, I can remember the ball rolling towards them. Is that the main scene that everyone remembers from Indiana? Or the Spanish version, Kiko Jones. Which, if you're Spanish, you'll get it. Ball rolling is Raiders. Hearts pull is Temple of Doom. He's on it. Okay. So yeah, what do we say about taking a look at improving the performance of the records check? Again, we can either go back to just using the stored procedure and letting it be fast but hard to debug and troubleshoot any issues that happen, or we can improve. Well, yeah, that's right. I was going to ignore that because I am currently in the process of converting the stored procedures over to C# class library, like I said at the top of the stream. Top of the morning to you, by the way, Marcus. Not really morning, but you know. Just felt like saying that. Oh, and he never managed to lose his hat. He did lose it once. It's one of those things that you can only do once. Like skydiving without a parachute. Good afternoon from my perspective. Absolutely. It's not even the top of the morning for me either. It's about midday. I've been at it for about 4 hours now already. With an hour break in the middle. As in, I've been up for 5 hours and I took an hour break. Well, if at first you don't succeed, perhaps skydiving is not for you. Bro. Oh man. Okay. So I do need to move past that because if I'm planning on using the library, I'm tired of seeing it take that long in the test build. I mean, in dev. That's TSP. Right. I'm looking for. Oh yeah. Here's something easy that we can do. This is low-hanging fruit. Let's set it up to what we said before, where we will do the on hover to get the menu to show up, or focus within. And the way that I think I'm going to do that is that I'm going to turn the menu, what are these called? The menu items that have submenus. So not the actual menu items themselves, but the ones that have submenus. I'm going to turn those into buttons so that when you click on them, then they can get the focus within effect. So let's do that first. Oh, man. Oh, that caught. Sorry for the weird noises. Does anyone know where the menu is? Menu item. Are we using the menu or the tummy menu? I remember making the tummy menu like 3 years ago. without chicken is a leaf. So with chicken is parent. What does this have to do with chicken? I'll learn how to read one day. So what DC Aggie actually typed was without children is a leaf. So with children is a parent branch? Yeah. I mean, they're all menu items. It's just whether or not they have sub-menu items or not. So that's why, ow. That's why it's kind of difficult to know how to refer to them. So yes, what are we using? They're an absolute nightmare with an eye tracker. So that is a good question, a good point though, Marcus. Would it still work if on click, when they have the focus within, none of the other ones will expand on hover? So let's say you have an eye tracker and your eyes are kind of moving around like this and you're trying to stay on this. But you focus on this and you do whatever the click gesture is, then that menu stays open even if you're hovering over other, if your eyes move to other parts. And then you can move through this menu and the hover will work like this. And you can click again, whatever the click gesture is, or select, I guess would be the correct term. So you do the select gesture, and now both of these are going to stay open because this entire menu structure still has the focus within. And then that the furthest out child will stay open. That's the logic that I'm planning on implementing right now. A good UI framework will have accessibility baked in to the provided navigation stuff for free or minimal effort. And I'm not using any UI frameworks. Maybe I should go back, like Win32. Maybe I should go back to using or to trying out UI frameworks, but when I started this, there was a lot of fighting with it, and that took more time than implementing it the way that I would just to get it done. Eye tracker is not that accurate. I have to do zoom mouse and then can have a single click with the zoom. I cannot look anywhere else to look at the menu items. Oh, okay. Yeah, and so that's why I'm... So it's still an issue because you'd have to be able to focus on the menu item long enough to be able to perform the click action. But the point would be that you would use the click action, then you would look through the menu items for that given menu. Yeah, it wouldn't be like you're just looking through each of the menu items to try to find the stuff because your eyes are going to be jittering or accidentally moving over other elements, especially when there is an action or an animation or movement on your screen. That's where your eyes want to go. And so if your eyes accidentally see this thing hover, then they're going to be like, oh, there's this thing over here, so I want to look at that thing. And you aren't actually intending to try to look at that other thing. It's just natural reflex for you to. So yeah, again, the thing that I'm trying to establish is the thing for if you're using an eye tracker is that you'll focus on one menu item, you will perform the click gesture, and it'll stay open, regardless of where your eyes go from there. Then you can look through that menu, and if it doesn't have the things you want, then you can look at the next menu. So again, this one is still open even though you're looking at this menu item next. You are focused on that long enough to be able to perform the click gesture, then that's when it changes the menu to this new menu. Duka Soft. Duka Duka Duka. 38 months in a row. But yeah, Snobble came in, said also hi. Yes, I never hoover at home. Ho ho ho. Ho ho ho. But yeah, definitely keyboard navigate. Since I'll be turning them into buttons, when you tab to this, it will if you're using screen reader, when you use the keyboard gestures to move over, move across the elements, which I think is Control and arrow keys. I don't remember for sure, but I know that there is a different gesture for screen readers. So point is that when you have focus within, that's when your screen reader or your tab key is going to be focused on the button. That's why I want to make these into buttons. I could make them into a hrefs, but they wouldn't have a link on them. And I don't want to see the warning that says this is a href that doesn't have a link. And then if we do equals hash exclamation point, even if we do the JavaScript on click event.prevent default, it still doesn't quite forgive me in the IDE. Or is there like an ahref JavaScript 0 void or whatever that is that I should be using instead? So let's close out of the things that we're not actively working on. Stop trolling Dukasoft. Don't be such a troll. Yeah, this was definitely made a long time ago. Where is main layout nav menu? Nav menu is using menu. Yep, great. Got it. Good. Why did... Okay, so we are using menu. In these menus, we have menu items, which is awesome because that means that I only need to make this change in one place. I said that I don't want to bother making it an anchor because it does, it complains at me, and these are all anchors. So if it has href, then it is a clickable link. If it doesn't have a href, then it is a regular anchor. It's because navlink was the thing that didn't forgive me for not having a href. I'm pretty sure. So we couldn't make this a nav link without a href. Seems to be doing fine to me. What was happening, Pasperto? Can you clarify? Why didn't my reload? Where my reload is at? Hello? Okay. So weird. Are you actually rendering as a nav link? It is. How do we make sure this is the right component? let's add a menu item.razor.sas file. Yeah, definitely. I know that the nav link component just renders as an anchor tag, but that's the thing. It's rendering as an anchor tag, but it looks just like the anchor tag that I just had there. So I can't be 100% sure that it actually updated unless I do something like change the content, like very taco. Is hot reload even on? Does hot reload ever work? No, it's not even an option. Oh, probably because it was just now hot reloading. Okay, so yes, we are very taco, which means that navlink is definitely doing what it's supposed to do. Man, I could swear, and I will. No, I won't swear. I totally remember there being an issue with not having a href attribute on navlink. Interesting. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try to target nav item. Control tabbing instead of alt tabbing. We're gonna try to target nav item, and when it has focus within, focus within. And you know what? I was doing CSS differently in this application anyway, so we are not going to use SAS there. We're going to use it here. The way that I used to do the CSS was that I would put all of the page CSS in partials and then add them to... Oh, this is so backwards, isn't it? No, it's not. Add them to site.sas. Why aren't these partials? I'm so confused at how I did this. No, sorry, spammer. Didn't even give you a chance. Thank you, other bot. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. So what page? We're on main menu. Main layout, menu. So it's got to be in here. So when we go in menu, right, it will be : deep, but it's not. Oh. This is not a partial. What a weirdo. I see what he's doing. Oh my goodness. Do you guys see what this weirdo did? He created the SCSS isolated CSS files in this SAS folder. Right, hi Napalm. Did I completely blow over your comments? I could have sworn I saw you type earlier. It's probably just Marcus. No, you said hey, hey, hey. I totally missed it. Good grief. I'm sorry. Feels bad, man. Better than feeling Batman. So anyway, I created all of the SCSS files inside of SAS instead of in .razor.scss. I know. Instead of creating the .scss file as a .razor.scss and then compiling it there. So that makes it harder for me to know where the CSS file, well, I mean, it's pretty easy to know where the CSS file is. It's just a lot easier if it was associated with the component I'm looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and make that change first. Then we will start looking at doing things like adding the .nav item and focus within stuff. And the reason this was using colon, well, let me say it this way. The way that I realized that that's what happened was that I saw the colon deep keyword, which is only usable in isolated CSS. And this is where I store all of my top level CSS, usually as partials that all get added to site.css, which this is backwards because I now call it app.scss. So I was like, why does this have colon deep? And why do the styles look okay? Well, it's because this is the partial CSS for the menu. It's just down here, and then in compiler config, I'm telling it to compile to components menu item. So let's do some changes. Let's move this up to you. Oops. I mean, it's still going to move it to the folder, so that's what matters. Let's add a .resor. And let us change this to be components. And now, looks fine to me. I'll be able to find it easier. So let's do all of those. But hello, Juan Van. How are you? Napalm says, not sure I remember CSS these days. Haven't written a front end for a year plus. Well, you could get some practice by helping me out. Do you feel like helping me out? You definitely don't have to. But the offer is there. Depends on what you need. How about some UI UX first? Some designs. This is all like standard. I created a template a million years ago by modifying the existing Blazor template. Added, oh right, I need to get rid of that before it stays. I modified the colors and chose this kind of color scheme because I liked it. It was dark and easy on the eyes, but not too dark that it's gonna make it hard to read, but not too light that it doesn't have enough contrast. Yeah, so I wouldn't mind having an updated base styling for all of the RMA apps. Menu item. Very taco. Taco very, yes. I've never fancied myself as a pretty page dev. I don't think very many of us do. The only one that I know of that is a designer is AAOA, and he does stream and he does offer his services, but I'm not actually looking to pay anyone for this. Pretty much, if my styles are good enough for the customer, we're going with my styles. Unless someone wants to pro bono help me out of the goodness of their heart. Whoa, I put a slash? Where did that slash come from? That's odd. Okay, that's bad. Oh, it's bad. So let's turn this back into a nav link because I think it's going to be easier to style it as a nav link, which again, like Marcus said, is just kind of this fancy wrapper around links so that they get the additional active. They get set to active when they're clicked and they match the current URL given your matching rules. I did one really fancy page once with a graph I built using divs and CSS and swim lanes. Material style, but all custom CSS, was a dashboard for patient events. It was fun, but took forever. Yeah. And you remember the fun that I hope it looked like I was having fun, but the fun that I was actually having with the design, the redesign for the financial management landing page, I found it to be a lot of fun. the CSS, when we were able to write CSS that worked, was a lot of fun. But at the same time, it just took forever because not confident with it. Oh, and compiler config. Okay, I'm going to keep moving these to where they belong. Drop down. So let's go ahead and expand all these. And the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to go top to bottom. And the first one that we see is fail picker. Fail picker. This is how you pick your failures. Resort. Go back to here. Where is fail picker? Right here. Updated. And Napalm says, oh, and screw Safari. That was awful. Safari and Opera are the bane. Oh, and Netscape Navigator. For those of you that still use it, get off the internet. Drop down is next. Please tell me no one is still using that. Well, we don't support it, so it doesn't matter. We being all devs all the time. Every dev everywhere. Ever. Drop down. Oh, this is nice. What's next? Select list. Which is here. And multi-select list. Whoops. May as well do that one too. Dodge Resor. Dodge Resor. You know what though? I'm going to be even more lazy. So I'm going to keep nav menu and main layout. Nope, not going to keep those either. I'm only going to keep site.sass because nothing else renders to www root, which means nothing else is used as a straightforward CSS file. If I save that and then we just do all of the moving of the stuff, it should go a little quicker. We already did menu. Playground has styles, I take it. Tommypage.razor. Oops, I didn't want to push that yet. Man, it's so second nature for me to push Alt-Shift-Q right after I create a Sass file, a code behind Sass file. You can use it, but you're going to get black text on a white background. And no JavaScript and just nothing. You ain't gonna get squat. All right. I think the only thing left then are the actual pages, and then we'll see what Sass files are left over after that. So let's collapse you. Anyone else in here? No. Okay. Yeah. So let's just find these then. Field data. Are you a thing? Field data is a thing. Load data. Load login display isn't shared. Let's do login display first. Thank you so much for the follow. And also thank you to the other person that followed earlier. That's not a follow, that's a raid. Anna, welcome in. I was lurking on your channel. I hope you had a great time. There's an existing login display. No. All right, we're going to have to resolve that in a second. But welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow. Hello, Raiders. Hello, Duckies. Hello, friends. Hello, all of you amazing and wonderful people that came in with Anna. How was your stream, Anna? That is not a follow. That is a raid. I mean, they're the same noise in my ear, so. And hello to you too, PP Break. Hope you're having a great day. PP Break. Anna says, yes, fix some rice. I mean, some nice issues with my T-unit environment and got Mini O S3 bucket storage to work. Congratulations on that. I'm currently in the middle of an effort to move all of our file storage off of an EC2 instance onto an S3 onto S3. So I'm just going to use S3 as my storage. Hello, Scott. But yes, Deathpax is like, it's a ducky raid. Treat us like your personal rubber duckies. My personal rubber duckies get treated like royalty. They are the highlight of my day. They are very, very integral in me being able to get anything done. So they are treated with the utmost respect. Napalm says to Anna, how was working with Mini O? I've thought of it to avoid S3 blob coupling. And it says one step closer to linking files and images to the lore scopes. Not 11 and a half more days to go before the deadline. You got this. I hope it's not too stressful. I hope it's the right amount of stress, the kind that gets you excited about doing software dev and doesn't make you want to just quit. That would be sad. That would make me very sad. But what we're working on today is we are in the middle of migrating and modernizing an existing line of business application called RTRAC. It is a way for labs to send us results for samples that we sent to them. We send soil, water, and air samples to labs, have them test for certain chemicals. We call them analytes. They do those tests using specific methods that we ask for. They're usually EPA methods. In fact, I think we're only using EPA methods now. They perform the analysis and then return the results using this RTRAC application. It's currently a .NET Framework 4.7.2 MVC application, and I'm bringing it over to .NET 8 or .NET 9 Blazor application. So I'm sure you've seen Anna working in Blazor. I'm sure you know what Blazor is, but I don't really remember what your lore writing, what your story writing technologies are. But I do know that you have done stuff with Balzor. Balzor, don't bring up the past. Don't bring up past trauma. But Anna responded to Napalm saying, I like it so far. Don't have a lot of experience with AWS S3 storage, bucket storage or such, but up until now, the setup was quite easy. I had, because we can't go a stream without me saying these, I worked with, who's it called? I worked with Claude to create this application that allows me to connect to our S3. And it's pretty much just a library. So I know that AWS has their library already, but this is another wrapper on top of that library, which is what we do as developers. We wrap libraries with other libraries. So this one is specific to accessing the Rocky Mountain National Wildlife Refuge's AWS S3 buckets so that we can replace all of our accesses directly to the file storage system on one of our servers to S3. And this worked really well. And I'm looking forward to first of all, following the README to get it working inside of my existing application, just to verify that it does, the README for one does what it's, or is followable, and for two, the application does do what it says it does. I did test it against our S3, buckets, and it absolutely is able to show me the list of files, the folders, and all that stuff. The histories of those files, I can restore a previous version. I can delete versions, which is soft delete, remove them from the list essentially. I can permanently delete as an admin, delete files, all of those things. Yeah, so something does exist. It's called the AWS S3 client library. AWS SDK S3. Right, and this wouldn't have any references to them. Anna said, well, first Napalm said, sorry, to Anna, good to know. Wait, there is that kind of software dev? Yes. Probably biggest thing is making sure that things are backed up and redundant for high availability. And I wouldn't need high availability for my products. I just need good backups. So I turn versioning on, and yeah, it's going to be great when we get everything moved over. Then Anna said, well, my project for now is meant to be fully ran on a local server, but in the future I might couple it with a different S3 bucket provider. But I'm setting up my services in such a way I can easily switch providers. Awesome. Yeah. So you just create the interfaces and you say, I don't care what you use as your storage, just implement these things so that the application will use your storage. But my InfiniLore is built on interfaces, perfect abstractions, but honestly, surrendering to the system is way better than the previous mess I had. Surrendering. Oh, as in you are surrendering to the fact that it's better than it used to be. It's good enough. Napalm said, good call, interface abstract, that stuff. Yeah. Like when I create a library, everything is just write everything as interfaces and base classes, abstract classes, and of course the models that go with it in one library, and then create your application around that, which means that you're not really able to test implementations up front, but then do the implementations after. So anyway, good call on that. Napalm agrees. I think something might exist for that, but still cool for learning. Well, I mean, there is the AWS CLI, but I'm sure someone has built an interface on it. Yeah, and so it's like you get the option of spending time to go look through GitHub for a library that is dependable and that you can actually integrate. Or if you happen to be experimenting with something like Claude. This was the first actual project I had Claude work with me on. And this was when I established that process of let's create the implementation plan. Let's go through the implementation plan one by one. I will take the code you generate, put it into the project that I created locally, address any build issues so I know what the code looks like. And it's like I am pair programming in that situation. And it's been a lot of fun. So Anna says, yes, indeed. Whenever I create a library, I have two projects, one library and one library.contracts, which has all the interfaces. Yeah, I'm not great with naming things, so I don't have too much of a consistent naming. I've been using .shared. Excuse me. Oh, they're up here. I've been using .shared for all of my interfaces, abstract classes, and shared models. And by shared models, what I mean by shared models are the ones that are used either on the front end, like let's say you are using a client-side application that needs access to the C# models. These are the things that are allowed to be used on the client, but I also use the same models on the server. So if I do an API call, it's the same class, the same object from this shared library to my controller, and then that controller just forwards the request to the server. The one thing that I had not been doing that I just started wanting to explore more is all of my controllers are tied to the server-side application. So in this case, this is a Blazor web app, which usually if you have it set to render mode, interactive server, or interactive WebAssembly or auto, you get a backend. So not WebAssembly only, WebAssembly with a hosted backend. You get the two projects, the one that is essentially your server project and the other one that's the client project that is delivered when the WebAssembly runs, which is completely empty for me aside from the program.cs, which gives us a HTTP client and some client-side services. What was I saying? So anyway, that's where I put my API controllers. What I want to do is put all of my API controllers in the server implementation. So what I'm most likely going to end up doing is moving all of my controllers down here into the shared server project, which this is really small, so you probably can't see it, but this is the Blazor server project. These are the controllers that are essentially just an API controller endpoint, and all they do is grab the request, forward the request to the service implementation on the server based on that interface being the server-side implementation, dependency injection. So yeah, we're with you. I'm debating signing up for Windsurf, Cursor, or Copilot for agentic coding so I can mess with some stuff. I don't know. I have not experimented with Windsurf or Cursor. I've obviously been using Copilot, but not just Copilot, but Copilot Agent in GitHub. I don't really like Cursor since it's VS Code only. So I've been using, for example, the bot that I'm not trying to remake this anymore. I am just letting it work on its own. But the bot that I am trying to just essentially take all of the objects from the docs, or all of the docs, and turn them into a class library, kind of like TwitchLib, and be able to use this with event sub and all that fun stuff, because my bot's still using only the API and it was still trying to use pub sub, but I don't think that that works anymore. But so I've been creating issues, and I have been assigning it to Copilot. And what it does is it creates a PR, creates a branch for that PR, does some work. I'll review that work and say, cool, but, and then it'll do more work, and then I'll say, cool, but, and then it'll do some more work until we get it right. And then I'll also make my own modifications when I'm reviewing the code, because I do the code review like you're supposed to do. So I would go in here and do the reviewing the code, as well as having it clone locally so that I can test out the code, see if there are build errors, see if there are runtime errors. All of that stuff. Out of breath. DeathPax is saying Copilot isn't bad, and you can choose between several LLMs. Yeah, when I use Copilot in the IDE, it's still sad that Visual Studio proper is so far behind Visual Studio Code as far as Copilot is concerned. So right now in Visual Studio Code, you have access to Claude 4, but in Visual Studio proper, you don't. It just doesn't show up, and Claude 4 has been amazing. But yeah, yes. Oh, did I say all the things? Please say things back. I have a really bad headache. I don't know if you could tell, but we are getting through this. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any cats. So leaning towards Windsurfer Copilot, I have messed with agent mode in preview or writer. But yeah, agent mode is in release Visual Studio, and it's been in Visual Studio Code for a while. And then Deathpax responds again, Copilot isn't bad, and you can choose between several LLMs. Unless the up arrow means, the 2 up arrows means go up twice. Yeah, agent mode does do a pretty good job of mangling files at times as well. TBD Gamer with the resub. Thank you so much. Oh, hello. How's it going? He asks. It is going well. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Actually, before I shout you out, let me shout out Anasass Dev. Because she rated us. Oh, she got a rate out from Dukesoft. A shout out from Dukesoft. So now we are going to shout out to as some TTSs would say. So Napalm said, the issues I have is VS Code first for everything. I get it, but that's not where I like to live. Oh yeah, okay. So as far as for AI stuff, because there's a lot of stuff that we get first in Visual Studio proper. It's most likely easier to integrate new things into VS Code because of how extensible it is. Like Visual Studio is probably extensible, but it's a very beefy application, and it's probably not as easy to extend as VS Code is, which feels more lightweight. But that's just a feeling that I have. And then Deathpack says, hey, TBD Gamer, been a hot minute. Well, you can definitely reconnect with TBD Gamer every morning, every weekday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Time, UTC -4 currently, and hang out with him. Speaking of, TBD Gamer, are you cognitively available at the moment, or are you like in the middle of stuff? Do you have meetings coming up? One lion forked. 20 minutes. Do you have time for me to ask you a question? If not, that's completely okay. I'll eventually figure it out when I decide to spend time on this. Didn't already have a browser open to my GitHub. Okay, so I forked developers.stream. I made the small change, and just so that you have it, again, it's a really, really small change. It is in, I forget how you have this structured, web. That's what www stands for. Components, search component, am I in the wrong branch? Client. Layout. Pages. Oh, was it just your homepage? It was just your homepage. Okay, so all that I did was I added on input, and then the thing that you wanted to happen every time you press a keystroke. Except that I added this as a method, which takes the change event args e, which is the thing that you get if you try to do @bind value : event equals on input. So the difference between onChange is that onChange will fire when the input blurs. So you push enter, you click off of it, you tab out of it. that's when onChange fires. And that is the default for @bind value. That's when underscore search input will update its value. On input happens every single time you do a keystroke. That could be the control key. That could be some alt shift whatever button. And that could also be a regular key press. So for every key press, we are updating the value of search input manually to the value that is currently in the memory of that input box. Then we're doing your onChange, and I didn't do debounce this way before. I love this approach. I don't know where you found it, but it's a really good approach in my opinion. So the way that TBD did debounce here is he did a cancellation token source, cancels that cancellation token source, creates a new cancellation token source, and then await task delay. What I had been doing before is starting a timer. So system.timers.timer, and then saying start timer. And whenever we got here, it would stop the timer and restart the timer. And that's all it did. Unfortunately, the timer elapsed event is a void, so you would have to do async void if you were going to try to do any async calls inside of it, which we know is not a great thing to do. So this approach is awesome. I love it. Okay, enough gushing about that. So thank you, robot overlords. This is fantastic. I wouldn't have thought to do it this way. Because I found a way that worked and I didn't look for better ways to do it. But now I'm encountering one and I want to use it for everything. So async task delay, when the cancellation token is canceled, then, which is happening here on the cancellation token source cancel async, then it just exits cleanly. Otherwise, we try doing the request on filter changed, and this also forwards the cancellation token with that request. Therefore, if the cancellation token cancels, then this also has logic most likely to cancel as well. So the two things that I added were on input and then the callback for the on input, which is just set the value of your variable that you are wanting to control inside of that input text. And just keep in mind that when you blur, this will also fire. So if you don't want that to happen, then instead of @bind value, just do regular value equals. Because at that point, you're constantly updating the value of search input as you type. And so clicking off of it that last time would also fire on input changed. So you probably don't want that. Would it? Would it though? Yeah, because you have the @bind value after. So either get rid of this or just change this to or definitely get rid of the @bind value after if you're going to use the on input. Okay, that said, the thing that I was really wanting to do, I haven't done a PR for it because I haven't tested it yet because I don't know how to test it. So the one thing that I really wanted to be able to do was get it up and running on my machine, but I don't know how to do that because there are no instructions for how to configure my machine to use Aspire, PostgreSQL, and all the things. So is that something that you could talk me through? Or is that an involved process that I just need to learn how to do if I want to contribute? cd git one lion forked git clone here. So I already went to dev.twitch.tv. I followed those instructions. I don't have Docker running. So step one is to install and run Docker. Aspire heavily leans on containerization. Okay. I really didn't know what that meant because I don't know very much at all about Aspire. Angie does have Docker on him. I'm not using him as a dev machine. He's only a server currently. But yeah, so install Docker Desktop, or would you recommend Docker in a WSL to... I mean, I know that when you install Docker Desktop, it'll ask you if you want to also use WSL too, but would that be good enough? Sorry, I have a really, really bad headache. But after that, I guess, so assume that I have installed Docker. What other configuration do I need to do aside from configuring the client secret and the client ID in my secrets? Oh, speaking of secrets, one other thing. I did change this in my branch just so that it would be there. You definitely do not have to accept this, but in program.cs, you have that, it's in the API. You have that statement about, no, it's in the Aspire. Where's the Aspire thing? You know what? The code is open. It's here. App host is what it's called. In here, you have the thing that says use the secret passwords. Safe passwords are better. I changed that on mine to use secrets because you're already using secrets here. So why not use secrets for that? Is that bad? Does that break when Aspire runs? Is that why you're not doing it that way? I mean, I remember you doing this purposefully. I was there on the stream when you set this up, but I can't remember what the reason was. That you didn't just use configuration. Okay, so that's fine. So, I need to go through documenting getting an app in YouTube. I don't know what that means. If I figure out how deployment of Aspire works, I would 100% swap it out for config. Okay, so for now, I'll undo these changes before I submit the PR, but I won't be able to test this until I install Docker. What else? The API, right click, manage user secrets, put in my client ID and my, is it here? You have it in the documentation where I'm supposed to put that. There is one more other thing that I wanted to show you that I don't know if you're aware of. If you have two projects that use the exact same secrets, so you aren't changing any of the other configurations for the secrets, you could, if you wanted to, just tell project number 1 and project number 2 to use the same secrets ID, because this is just a file name on your computer. And so you only need to configure the secrets once. Some secret. So I don't know if this is beneficial to you at all, but I just put that in the secrets for the API project. And now if I right click on the web project and go to manage user secrets, I'm so blind right now. My right eye. Wait, did I put that in the wrong? Oh, I didn't save. Dagnabbit. Okay, we're gonna manage user secrets in the web. Manage user secrets. Secrets. Oh, sure, secret key. Our secret key here. Save. And now if I close that and then right click and manage user secrets for the API, it uses the same file. Okay, so with Docker installed and the Twitch configuration set up, the only thing missing is the YouTube version of that. Oh, as in you have not, that's what that statement meant. As in the YouTube configuration part itself has not been documented. Okay. So would that break the app if I didn't configure the YouTube part of it? Or would I still be able to run and see the search bar and all that? Because I mean, like, you could, if you wanted to, just like pause my stream at comments. Nope, pages. Home. Okay, you could just pause my stream at 1 hour and 24 minutes and 40 seconds and just copy this into yours and see if it works for you. I don't need to do a PR in order for you to try it out, but we can talk about it on Friday. Okay, so I'll still try it and I'll submit a PR. I will get rid of the change that I made to app settings and program.cs and only commit or only PR the UI change. And hopefully I'll be able to do that this afternoon after work. Oh, goodness griefus. Depending on what my face wants to do. But thank you for responding to me. Thank you for taking the time to talk about that. If you don't know what that is, that was developers.stream. That is an application that TBD works on Mondays and Fridays on his stream exclusively. Well, I guess, I don't know. Have there been times that you've worked on it off stream? He works on it with his community. It's an open source project. He is currently accepting PRs, I believe. I don't know. I don't remember whether you were at that point. But yeah, just check him out. Check out his stream. Okay, so Deflux came in and said, oh, it stores it in the same place. Nice trick. Yeah, I use that for when I have a... No, I don't really need it anymore, but that was when we didn't have the Blazor web app template, and I would create the Blazor server and Blazor WebAssembly project templates side by side in the same solution. I would point them both to the same user secrets because they were exactly the same user secrets. I guess I use it in DDMS for the desktop or the worker service and the actual application itself. Yeah, so I still do use it somewhere. I use user secrets heavily in local dev, absolutely. Then TBD said, look at this. Deflux appearing in 2 streams in 1 day. Are you okay, Deflux? Says TBD. Then TBD said, I don't know, give it a whirl. I think it might break because of the configuration. Dev is easy until someone else looks at your stuff. Then Deathpack says, about time for a meeting for me as well. All right, ciao, Deathpacks. Thank you so much for hanging out. And TBD's going to his meeting as well. Oh, maybe. Very little, maybe 10 minutes here or there, but no off-stream stuff. Cool. So TBD works on it predominantly on his stream. Fantastic. Cool. Great. Okay, so I'm going to continue moving files around and acting like that's doing work because my head is splitted and killing me. Oh, no, the the real thing that I should say, just to appease the masses, is because I use Copilot Agent for everything, I don't know how to do the programming. Uh, ow, ow, ow. I'm kidding, head. Method maintenance, report lab lot. So what I'm doing here, by the way, I think you all heard me say it earlier, is I'm moving all of these SAS files from this folder into the isolated CSS files. I don't know why I didn't do it in this project. Maybe I didn't know that I could name these .razor.scss and then have them transpile to regular .razor.css. I thought they had to be in this folder or something. I don't know. Whatever my brain was thinking. Return to LSS, submitted report, TRN management, upload water levels, view archive, and view final. Okay. Masses, are you sure? Yes, yes. Everyone that watches this now and everyone that watches this in the future and all of the AI agents that are also listening and watching, whether now in the future or in the past. But that's okay because they know how I feel about them. And it is not fear-mongering, ow, or doomsday talk from me, at least. It is excitement, it is love, it is joy, it is passion. It's what am I going to be able to do now that I can choose what I work on? How can I leverage my skills as well as leveraging the skills of the tool? What? Okay, so tell me, oh no, I already deleted it. Tell me what view final rendered to, transpiled to. I'm assuming that view final was being rendered to both TSP and, nope, only TSP. So this should just be view final TSP. I thought that it was going to render to both view final TSP and view final TRN. But that was not the case. All right then. Because there is no view final TRN. I'm staring at my calendar, wishing this meeting to despair. You can do it. You really can. I love the way that you all think that it's not possible, that it's just a joke. It's entirely possible. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Let's keep having fun with code. All right, what I'm doing here is I am going through and essentially re-adding all of these to the compiler config file by pressing Alt-Shift-Q. I'm using the Web Compiler 2 extension, Web Compiler 2022 Plus. Web Compiler 2022 Plus, I'm pretty sure is what it's called. Yeah, Web Compiler 2022 Plus. It originally was a Mads Christensen extension, but he stopped updating it after Visual Studio 2019. And Jason Moore updated it in Visual Studio 2022, which was awesome. And it works exactly the same, where you get a compiler config. You just write a .scss file and then you Alt-Shift-Q on it. If you don't remember the keyboard shortcut Alt-Shift-Q, you right-click, Web Compiler, compile file. That adds it. If there wasn't a compiler config file, it would create it. But it also adds this entry to compiler config. And yeah, dag nabbit. So now I have two main layouts and two login displays and two nav menus. DC Aggie says, hey, TBD Gamer, got a request from one of the departments for you specifically. They said, oh, thank you so much, Chuck Beasley. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 2 months in a row. How very kind of you. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. DC Aggie said, got a request from one of the departments for you. They said the intern that just left vibe coded them a CRM marketing tool and they're having some problems with it. Not sure what tools he was using, but pretty sure you can fix their minor issues. Just the occasional error and some missing customer data. End of week fine? That's just wrong. TBD's like, ah. That was awesome. Okay, we need to resolve the issue with the remaining 3 shared layout SAS files. I need to know, yeah, are they different though? Is it just a tabby issue? They are different. Aha! Not only are they different, but this is a copy and paste of the original login display.razor.css. So compiler config will tell us which one we were using, in which case we can just overwrite the other one. But my assumption is that they are the same. It's just that one is written as regular CSS and the other one is written as SAS structure. Good. Am I missing? No, they're all 3 up here. I was like, I'm missing one. I can't see out of my right eye, okay? So yes, we were using the main layout or the .scss file from the SAS folder. So what we've got here is failure to communicate. Now, some men you just can't reach. So you get what we had here last week, which is the way he wants. Well, I only know that because of Guns N' Roses. No, that wasn't very good. Oh, you gotta put that, yeah. I don't know if I can. I was going to, but I don't know if I can. No, color variables. You are now in a different relative location. ... Say yes. All right. How about now? Habanero. Okay, so all of our CSS files are now with their components. All of our isolated CSS SAS files are with their components, making it easier for me to find them. That was the point. That was the goal. We accomplished the goal. Moved isolated SAS files to be with their associated components. Oh, did I mention my head is killing me? I'm trying not to complain about it, but it's the biggest thing in front of my face right now. Still drinking water. All right, Napalm, thank you for being here and enjoy your meeting as well. I do not miss having meetings all day long. I have a meeting maybe once, say, 3 months. And then when I do have meetings, it's like 5 meetings back to back, but then it's just no more meetings for quite some time, which is really, really nice. Okay, so now that we have the SAS files where we want them, we can try to style the these. The menu items is what we were going after. So I'm going to reveal that side of the screen. Friday Community Day streams count as a meeting? I guess. Not really. I mean, they carry on like meetings do, where topics change and nothing ever gets resolved. A meeting of the minds. True. So true. Jinx. Yeah, but can you say... I can't, because I don't know where it is. Wait. Why? Oh, because you don't know how to scroll anymore, little window, you piece of... Can you say true woo woo? True, 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 true woo? True. Don't say that. Ugh. Okay, so the styling that we're trying to fix is menu.razor.scss. And now we know why the : deep was there, is because it is an isolated CSS file, or it compiles to an isolated CSS file, transpiles. You know what I mean? It goes from SAS to CSS. And so that is going to be specifically for the menus and the associated menu items. Do I really want the menu items is CSS to be controlled by the menu? Yes, because the menu item can't exist without a parent menu, and I want to keep it that way. DC Aggie. I'm going to read that out loud. DC Aggie said, #: deep may or may not be in my search history. It's probably because you needed to know the markdown equivalent of being able to write : deep in a markdown file. And you just didn't realize that you need a space after the hash in order for it to be treated like a header. That's what I'm going with. Felix said, you updated my alarm song. Oh, awesome. Oh, I updated. Cool. Yeah, clearly is a very good wake up and get going song. It's very subtle. Do, 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 do. I love it. It's a nice thing to wake up to, especially if you tell it to start very soft and then you have the alarm volume gradually grow. It's so nice. DC Aggie said, that's what I'll tell HR. Snubble said, oh, they are adding the ability to C# as a scripting language. Nice. Very cool. Good to hear. It's probably not something I'll be using yet, but if that could take the place of VBA, for example, in Office products, then I might go back to doing macros again for a living. I really enjoyed doing that. I loved making macros that someone is like, I need to accumulate all of the data on this sheet. And I'm like, there's probably a formula for that or some built-in way that you can do it in Excel, but let me write a VBA macro that'll do it. You think it could be replacing Cake long-term? Even better. That would be awesome. A native build script in C#, not needing to be run through Cake. That would be cool. Deflex said, some part of my brain activity believes if I change my alarm music to Misum's clearly, I might actually be a productive coder. I mean, if your brain believes it to be so, it will be so. Your brain will support whatever you want to believe, and the universe will support that as well. You could believe negatively if you want. The universe will support you unconditionally. You could believe positively. The universe will support you there. You will see the things. Make your insides match what you want to see outside. I think that's the phrase. Anyway, Snubble said, I think it could be replacing cake long term. As far as I know, you can write .NET run program.cs. That would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah, kind of like if you did a Python whatever.py. That'd be very cool. I think I would like that. You need some libraries. Deflex said, no, I just started using cake. And now you tell me this. That doesn't mean you have to stop using cake. I'm sure it'll still work and be around, especially if you get good at it. Snubble says it will take years and cake will be around for a long time, I think. I agree with you. But perhaps the cake guys don't have support the scripting part of cake and just rely on standard. And then DC Aggie says, is this the solution less C# stuff? Solution less? I mean, that sounds cool. Like they want to make C# into a Python style language that you don't have to compile. Python basic. F# is that way, right, Snubble? It's being compiled in the background. Yeah, I mean, I guess if it's like something simple enough, then compile time would not take very long anyway, so it'll feel like it's just running the script directly. Deflex says, I will say you have had the ability to run single C# files for a while, I thought. Like, they're getting started with Visual Studio Code, does it? Kind of like in a notebook or something. I mean, like, there's a lot of wrappers to running the C# scripts. So that has been around for a while, but I think they're making it a first-class citizen. Is that what Snubble is maybe pointing to? So one of the things that I tried to do as far as the data import utility was to make it so that I would generate C# syntax as the user did the UI configuration. So instead of, let me show what I'm talking about, I guess. One line GitHub data import utility. Hey, I remember. Nope, not data import utility. Dang it. Automated realms. I always forget that. Automated realms. LLC. There we go. Okay. Oh, I don't have files ready. Work stuff. Project. Nope. RMA. Projects. Lab data import. Sample files. Missed. I always miss. Try again. Okay, so with this application, you're essentially turning an imported workbook, spreadsheet, CSV file into a C# object by mapping from the input values to your target type, target C# types properties. And in doing so, you get this configuration for each one of the fields that says, for the first action, do this thing here. Do a regular expression match to find, that's right, you guessed it, all numeric sequences. Then do an interpolation that will join the second element it finds with the first element with an underscore and the last element. And if you do a typo, it'll just type in whatever you type in here. If you do a $3, which doesn't exist because there is no fourth element, it'll just do the literal $3. So the way that I'm building this is by using a base class that is a transformation type, value transformation base. And you have all of these different implementations of value transformation base that can be chained together and output a transformation result. So the transformation result that this thing generates is the input for this operation. Then the transformation result for this will be the final output value. And you can see that in the table of values down here. But ow. So the thing that I wanted to do at first was, let's make this robust enough that when you choose this transformation type, it'll write the C# for regex. And then it'll dot off of that, because the C# for the regex would just be dot do regex operation, which is going to return a transformation result, dot do the next operation, which is going to work on that transformation result, dot do the next operation. The problem with that is I'm also wanting to do branching. And so if we have something like a conditional operation, which I have not implemented yet fully, I'm still stuck on it. If this thing evaluates to something, then do this thing with that value. Otherwise, do this other thing with that value, or some other field entirely. So it didn't really make sense to try to generate C#. Point is, I tried using C# to do that, and the way that I was going to process it was by using the scripting library off of NuGet for being able to run C# code in another application, essentially. Kind of like what happens if you go to something like .NET Fiddle. So I think maybe this is what Eflex was talking about, where it looks like you can just run random C# stuff and it'll just work like a script. But really it is just compiling and then running program.cs. Or being able to run snippets as part of your assembly. I don't know for sure. DC Aggie says, my codebase includes sexrepository.cs, and sex repository sounds like an awesome 80s hair band. Agreed. I actually remembered it wrong. Ah. Okay, so it is still using program.cs as the main entry point. So essentially, no matter what, you would still need a public static main void string args. Or static void main string args, I guess. Don't even need the public in front of that anymore, I don't think. And of course, if you just have minimal API, whatever it's called. I always forget which one is which. Then you don't even need the wrapper. DC Aggie says, Idaho City bans X repository. Why are you yelling? Why is he yelling? Bans sex repository from performing. Officials cite indecency concerns in controversial move. Because it's the headline. Don't yell at me. Too loud. It's too early and it's too loud. I know his thing he says is too late, but it's too early. Okay, we are styling this. We're going to style this. Because I haven't made any progress really, I am going to go ahead and end the stream at the half hour so that I can just work the rest of the day and actually make it billable hours. Oh, crap. Newspaper headlines are typically in all caps. I know. All I need to do is what you suggested, essentially. Only instead of rice, it's going to be a warm bottle, or a bottle full of warm water. Yeah, and I think that's where the main issue is coming from. First of all, I think I have a blood clot in my right ear. Not like the kind that'll go into your brain, but like because I used to use Q-tips, which is dumb, don't use Q-tips to dry out your ears, but I used it for pretty much all my life. It's what I grew up doing. It's what I was taught to do to clean out my ears. I think that I accumulated not only wax, but I injured my eardrum from pushing the Q-tip too far, or of course from marching band, from being a bass drummer. And so it bled a little bit, and the blood stayed there, and now it kind of looks like there is a blood clot. And when I say it looks like, because I finally got fed up with it, I bought the little things that have a camera on them and you stick them in your ear. They have a little clip to be able to pull out earwax and stuff, which works really nice. But yeah, I guess it's a scope, but it's a full tool. It's sitting right over there. But when I saw that in there, I was like, wow, there's this massive dark thing that kind of looks like a blood clot would look. And I can't grab onto it with the tweezers because the edge of it is gooey. And so I don't want to push in too far because then I'll just push it in deeper and it'll just hurt more. So that's one of the things. And I compared it to the other side, and the other side doesn't have anything that looks like that. But that's one thing. The other thing is that Monday I got Starbucks. So I had an extra coffee, which you wouldn't think would cause a caffeine headache 2 days later just for having one extra coffee once. And it's, oh man, but that could be contributing to it. And that's why I'm trying to drown myself. Might have not been caffeine, could have been the price tag. I don't see the price tag. I do the card reload, and then I had some gift card money on the account from Christmas. So I was like, I should probably use this before it expires, if it expires. Okay. I still want to see if we can do this on stream though. This would be cool to see. The goal is to make it so that we can click on the nav link, have it be within focus, or focus within, and have the menu show. So that's going to be in the same place as the hover, which should just be, and oh, you know what? I have that already. And the reason that that didn't work before is that now I am right. Now I am trying to target too many things. Oops, not focus within. So this should still work for hover. That says it compiled successfully, but I don't trust hot reload at the moment. So I'm rebuilding, rerunning. It's reloading. Reload. I lose all of my styles. Okay, so on hover still works. Okay, now we need something that is actually clickable. There we go. So this nav link has the focus. And that is why the menu stayed open when I moved off. So focus within is still there, which means that I need to force all of the other menus to stay closed. And I don't know how to do this without... Shouldn't we be able to use sibling? A sibling selector. But sibling selector, I think, only selects the next sibling. So what is a sibling selector? Sibling selector would be plus menu item display none. Oh, wait. Important. We need this to be in the opposite selector though. Which is going to be hover or focus within. Newest dating app in Missouri, sibling selector. That's so wrong. So wrong, DC Aggie. Okay, so we did not break. Well, then again, who knows? This says error compiling. Because I am missing a curly brace. There we go. Okay, we did not break hover. Why are you flashing like that? Add. Oh. Because I'm hiding the next menu item. But I mean, this is still proof that it is, yeah, that sucks. That it is only selecting the next sibling. Okay, so instead of the next sibling, the thing that we are, or not the next sibling, instead of hiding the menu item, we're trying to hide the menu item's children. But it's not working. Yeah, so like essentially what I need to do is when we click on the menu item, then we're going to set the flag for it to show and set the flag for the rest of them to be force hide. Man, I really thought we'd be able to use focus within. Focus within. That would be the name of my group. But yeah, I think I'm going to stop here because I am struggling. Struggling. We did get a thing done, but not enough for me to call it a workday. A workday's worth a thing. So I'm going to work on that s'mores. And I don't know what else to say. I'll be back again tomorrow, regular time, 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time, UTC -6. The VOD will be posted to YouTube's. Feel free to join our Discord. Enjoy your time. We are raiding out. Of course, we're raiding out to the one and only Bitgamey, who I love to raid, who is currently working on, I was going to say, Can You Beat You? He's currently working on his Katamari Damacy clone. I think he's still working on it, called Rescue Ball. I'm not exactly sure. Oh, he's picked up a person. I see. I was like, why is that so hard to tell what he's looking at? All right, thank you, TBD. But yeah, that's it for now. We're gonna head out. I cannot understate how much I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to stream this content. Well, thank you for being here. And see you later, Snubble. Snubble. See you, DC Aggie. See you, all of you wonderful lurkers that hang about. I really appreciate your support, your energy. Thank you so much for being here. All right, ciao for now.